And the important thing about social media is don't talk about your thing, okay? Make people curious so they want more of you. And how about a great job by Jody as well? I think we gave her a hand. I learn something every time I talk to Jody, seriously. Always, always. Oh, I'm not quite sure I took good notes though. Clarify this, Jody. In the R9 presentation, are we supposed to say this is going to make your face feel like a freshly paved 101? I think I missed something there. All right, so I've got a day and a half presentation I'm going to give you in 17 minutes, okay? So, my first slide here, which will be up here in a second, is this. Your mother's advice does not apply to what you're doing in Arbonne. What's your mother's advice? Don't talk to strangers. You've got to talk to strangers. There's a lot of different ways to prospect, online, offline, warm market, cold market. Bottom line is I'm not sure of the exact number, there's about 400 million people in the United States. 398 million of them are not using Arbonne right now. So there's a pretty big market out there of people that you don't know. Some people like to call them cold markets. To me, that's a little bit negative. Let's call them people that they're friends we haven't talked to yet. So you see people every day. How many of you sometimes are just a little bit squeamish about talking? You're looking at somebody going, you know, they might be good, but we just don't. Anybody ever been there before? Come on, liars. So I'm going to give you a couple days worth of training here in about 17 minutes on how to be more confident and some verbiage for doing that as well. And I think in future trainings we'll dive even deeper into this. First part is, not surprisingly, following up on what I had just talked about before, that's mindset. This really is a mindset shift. I got to tell you, it was a huge mindset shift for me. Number one, just talking to people that I don't know. In my business, for the longest time, I'm the hotshot, best-selling author. You know, I don't need to go out there. It's just, and I really kept to myself. I'm kind of an introvert. I go to the gym. I stick my headphones in. I don't talk. I don't want to talk to people. Okay. Now I am totally changed. I am talking to people all the time. And we need to in this business because you just never know. And I say here, put on your what if glasses. When you go out wherever you are, instead of looking at somebody and saying, yeah, they probably wouldn't be interested in the product of the business, say to yourself, what if there's something going on in their life right now that they really need to make a change? They need to make a change for their health. They need to make a change for their life. They have some crisis going on where they need to replace their income. They got some bills coming up. And what if I don't talk to them? I'm really cheating them out of possibly changing their life. So again, everybody you look at them a little bit differently. And Pam and I, it's funny because we'll be out, and now all the time we're making a game out of this. We're having so much fun with this. We went to the Prospecting Recruiting Summit a couple weeks ago, and the Go for No people were speaking. Richard Fenton and Andrea Waltz, who I happen to know, I've spoken on the same programs with them, but they gave their Go for No presentation, and we really took that to heart. So after that night, for the next 3 days, we wound up asking a bunch of engaging people in conversation. I'll tell you exactly what we did, and we're going to go through it here with you. But we wound up getting interest and phone numbers from 8 people. 3 bartenders, 3 Uber taxi drivers, the flight attendant guy at the ticket counter at Southwest, and then 1 other person. And we didn't even get a no, and we're thinking, we're not trying hard enough. Now, we didn't sign all those people up. We did sign up 1, and we got a couple that we're still working on. But the thing is that even one of the Uber drivers was this guy, a little bit older, and it didn't speak very good English, but we struck up a conversation with him. As it turns out, he had been in a network marketing company and had about 1,000 people working for him in the past. And he said he was looking for something different now. It's like ding, ding, ding. Yeah, because you never know. So instead of saying, yeah, they probably wouldn't be interested, change your total mindset and say, what if? What if? What if I don't talk to them? I'm really going to be cheating them and myself as well. Now, rejection, right? I'll tell you, I've been talking about rejection for 30 plus years just in sales in general. And it's the one thing that causes people to not make calls or approach people. And the fact is that rejection, well, let me ask you, who here has been rejected before? You have, okay. So the next question is, how do you know? How do you know?
Well, they either say no or they beat around the bush and you.
Okay.
There's a general feeling that comes over.
Okay.
When you know you feel deflated.
Okay, so they said no. They said, don't talk to me anymore. They go, security. Or maybe it's their tone, it's their dial tone when they hang up on you. The fact is, all those things happen. And matter of fact, if you're putting yourself out there, things are going to happen. Stuff happening, you could change that first word if you want, stuff happening is inevitable, okay? The rejection's always optional. And everything that we just described here, those are things that happen to you. Is rejection what happens to you or the way you define what happens to you? Always the way you define what happens to you. Eleanor Roosevelt said, nobody can make you feel inferior without your consent. Let's change that to, no one can reject you without your consent. See, you can only make yourself feel rejected if you define what happened to you as rejection. So let's change your definition. Now, every time you try, look at that as a win. And even if you did get a no, ask yourself a couple questions. What did I learn from that? And is there anything I could do differently next time? Okay. And then, like one of my first sales managers said in corporate life, say what the barber says. Next. We just move on. But one of the speakers at the summit said, this was brilliant. I forget which speaker it was. He said, in our business, we need people, but we don't need any one person. So don't be so attached to one person that you're saying, oh my God, I gotta know. Big deal, so what? We move on to the next one. Matter of fact, if we aren't talking to mass numbers of people, we're probably not going to reach our vision, right? So get rid of that whole notion of rejection. And again, in future trainings, hopefully I'll have the opportunity to talk to you more. I've got all kinds of stuff on this, but that one is important. Another speaker at the program who was absolutely amazing, guy's probably only about 30 years old. He has recruited personally, what do they say, 10,000 people? Cold market, total cold market. Matter of fact, get on his website. I actually bought one of his products where he calls it Reality Networker, where he has himself recording, or somebody's recording him just approaching people at the gas station, at the store, convenience store, just going up and talking to people using his methodology. But what he said that really resonated with us is the B10XB, be 10 times bolder. And what that means is anytime you're in a situation where you're thinking to yourself, should I talk to them? Say to yourself, what would I do if I were 10 times bolder? Right now, what would I do? And he shares a story of he was at a gas station filling up, and he said he would recruit gas stations. Sometimes he'd go 10 times a day and just get like $1 worth of gas. And he said he's filling up with gas, and he said he's looking at a guy about his age, and he was in his mid-20s at the time, and the guy's driving an Escalade, nicely dressed, he's talking on the phone, and he says, I'm standing there in his ratty old t-shirt and his shorts, and I'm looking at him, I'm going, damn, that guy's successful. I wonder what he does. Man, I'd like him working with me. But then he said, the doubt starts creeping in, then he says to himself, what would I do if I was 10 times bolder? So he said, I walked over there, and the guy's on the phone, I go, hey. And the guy goes, just a minute, I gotta go. The guy goes, what? He goes, hey man, you got a cool car. He goes, oh yeah, thanks. He goes, hey, what do you do? And he says, we struck up a conversation, and he said, I got his number, we got a meeting. He said, this guy's now one of my best friends, one of the top producers in my organization. And he said, if I wasn't 10 times bolder, that never would have happened. And I've done that several times ever since then. Matter of fact, I was at the eye doctor, and the woman that checks for your prescription, And actually I kind of knew her story because I had seen her before, and she probably got to be close to 75, 80 years old, and she had quit, and then she had come back. She's looking for something to do, and then she said that she was probably going to quit again because she's just tired. And I'm thinking, oh, she probably wouldn't be good, or she probably wouldn't know anybody. And then I'm saying to myself, that's stupid. Be 10 times bolder. So I said to her, I said, you know, this may not be for you, but I'm sure you know so many people. I said, who do you know that might be interested in a side project for some additional income and that might also be interested in health and wellness? She goes, well, let me see. And she started thinking, and then we had a little bit of a conversation. Nothing actually came of it at that point, but it's not going to every time, right? But think about that. Next time that doubt creeps in, say to yourself, what would I do if I thought, screw it, right? Be 10 times bolder. And we were tweaking that a little bit. We kind of like the term braver. Be 10 times braver, right? Okay, so Cesar Rodriguez, give credit where credit is due. Being timid is being selfish, as I talked about before. If you're saying to yourself that, oh, geez, I'm just kind of afraid to talk to them, you are depriving somebody of a potential opportunity. That's the ultimate in being selfish. Even if you get a no, you can say to yourself, well, you know what? At least I tried and I presented that opportunity, and I can live with myself knowing that at least I put it out there. They were the ones that declined it as opposed to me declining to ask them, right? Or at least getting them involved in a conversation. No pitch zone, all right? People don't care about your thing. So I've got an entire YouTube video on that. Quit talking about your thing. People only care about the result, okay? Matter of fact, people are going to be resistant when they see or hear a pitch coming on. And by the way, the same thing applies online as it does offline. If you think right now, if you go through your timeline, who are the people, and you probably know a few of these, that are friends that it's like, oh, I'm so excited because my plexus thing does this, and this. It's like, here I am drinking my shake because you know what my shake does? And it's like, yeah, it causes me to scroll down and skip that. So here's our entire goal of approaching somebody. Get involved in a conversation that's going to be about them, all right? We are going to avoid, as long as we can, talking about product or opportunity. So more about that here. Let's go through the process. And again, I'm going to give you a couple days worth of training here. Get into a conversation. First step. You see somebody anywhere. We travel a lot. Matter of fact, last week we were in Chicago, caught a couple Cubs games, went to the U2 concert. But we also stopped at a bar once we got there to get something to eat on Navy Pier, and we struck up a conversation with the waitress. And it's kind of funny, now we got this routine. Well, we'll talk, strike a conversation, ask questions, and we'll kind of look at each other and do the, raise the eyebrow, nod of the head, okay, me or you, okay? And then we start asking more focused questions. But getting into a conversation, you have people that are paid and have to talk to you because these are waiters, waitresses, Uber drivers, cab drivers. Well, they don't necessarily have to talk to you. But think about when you're out and about and you see somebody that is extremely on the ball, great communicator, friendly, positive attitude. Those are the people that likely may be interested in the business. Now, you gotta be careful about prejudging because I still like to engage people in conversation. You can't prejudge, but let's take the people that are not paid to talk to you. So how do you open up a conversation with them? This is just basic common sense here, right? These are things you probably do all the time. Compliment is always great. Let's say you're standing in line somewhere, somebody's next to you. Hey, man, great shirt. Or comment on, let's say they got a Michigan Wolverines shirt on. Hey, Michigan, man, you guys really coming on. Having a good season, or had a good season. Again, how tough is that, right? Strike up the conversation. Compliment's always good. And by the way, did you know it's scientifically proven that if somebody thinks that you're insincere with your compliment, they still feel good about it. That is proven. That's right. A statement. A statement about anything, right? Well, big one here is the boring weather, right? just making a comment. And then also, of course, you got a question. So we're at another bar last Friday. Now, don't get the impression we go to a lot of bars. Although, this business is awesome because I figured out a way to write off my beer as a business expense. So we're waiting in line at the bar. It's busy, and there's a guy standing next to me, and I look at him. I go, "Man, there's so many choices. What are you getting?" He goes, "Well, I'm thinking I'm getting this." I go, "Oh yeah." And now all of a sudden we're just talking about the beer, and then we're waiting. I said, "So what do you do?" He goes, "Well, I'm a recruiter for the United States Army." I mean, he said it with passion. I go, "Oh man, thank you for your service. That's awesome." We started talking, and he goes, "Yeah, but I'm retiring here in about 6 months." I go, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah." And we kept talking and talking. I said, "Well, what do you want to do?" And he says, "Well, you know, I really got some passions. I want to help people." I said, "I bet you've helped a tremendous number of people in your life." He goes, "Yeah, I want to keep on doing that." So you see where this conversation is going, right? So bottom line is, got his phone number. We had a meeting with him the next day, and we're going to have another conversation next week. Now, the thing is, you don't want to get too attached to wanting one person. I want this guy. I said, "What's one of your techniques for recruiting people?" He said, "It speaks for itself. I'm with the United States Army." I said, "What do you do when somebody doesn't want to join?" He said, "Doesn't happen." And I'm thinking, I want this guy. Now, if I didn't ask that guy a question at the bar, never possibly would have had this guy. And then he told me, he said, "What?" He said, I said, "Well, what do you really want to do?" He said, "My daughter's young. I want to make sure I take care of my daughter." He said, and he was joking. He's got the dry sense of humor. He said, "I really love my daughter." He says, "You know, my wife and I get along, but I really love my daughter." He was kidding. All right. Now, here's the most important part of this whole thing here. Listen, question, rinse, and repeat. Okay? It's a don't talk about you, talk about them. Everybody has a story. And we're questioning for a couple reasons. One is we're qualifying. We want to find out, is this somebody that would be right either for the business or the opportunity? And then what we're doing is we're questioning deeper to what's called pre-frame. Pre-frame is putting somebody in a frame of mind where they're going to be more receptive to hearing your recommendation. Because if you just go up to somebody at the mall and go, "Hey, let me tell you about my opportunity. I got this thing, and you can make 4 levels, white Mercedes, yeah, great products, nutrition, botanically based, non-GMO." No, they're going to go, "Whoa, weird." But if we get somebody talking about, for example, last night we're at the Diamondbacks game in the club bar. We were eating. Yes, we were eating. And the place is busy. It's the one down below, and the waitress is running around like crazy. But you could tell when she comes to the table, she was just very attentive. Okay, great attitude, and we engaged her in conversation. And she would stop and she would talk to us. And then, of course, after she came by a couple times, we look at each other, raise the eyebrow, nod the head, yeah. So we got her talking. So Pam said, "Do you do this full time?" She goes, "Well, no, I don't do it full time." She says, "My husband is working IT for somebody. He got moved, so he's mostly working in Texas. When he's home, I'm working here. But I really like to spend more time with my daughter." And she's given us all these clues. Now, of course, we're writing these things down in our mind going, okay, would like to have more time with her daughter, like to have more family time. Husband's away because that's his job. All these things. And then, of course, I made the comment, I said, "Boy, you seem like you really, really like to help people." She goes, "Oh, I love it." She goes, "That's my passion." Now, what are we doing here? Are we jumping in with, "Oh, that's it"? No, we're digging a little bit deeper. All right, you really love to help people, don't you? Yeah. So what's going on here? We're pre-framing our recommendation because people will remain consistent with what they say. If somebody says, "I really love to help people, I really like to have more free time," I can use that when I make the recommendation. And I'll show you that here in a second. Now again, I could spend a couple hours just talking about this, but the sales manager told me one time, one of his reps came up to him and said, "Boss, I can lead them to water, but I can't make them drink." He said, "Your job isn't to make them do anything. Your job is to help them realize they're thirsty." That's right. And we do that with questions, all right? We do that with questions and then by listening. And the thing is, sometimes we feel we have a hot prospect, we want to jump in and just throw up all over them, which is the worst thing we can do. Here's one of the greatest questions of all time. 2 letters. Oh. Oh. Yeah. I really would like to spend more time with my kids. Oh. Yeah. Oh, tell me more. Right. Keep going. Keep going. I teach advanced questioning techniques. I'm going to give it to you guys right now. This is some real ninja stuff here. I'm not even sure we should be recording this because I charge a lot of money for this. So here it is. When you ask a question, you're going to get your first answer, right? So here's the advanced technique here. You guys ready for this? Everybody sitting down? Write this down. After you get your first answer, ask the next question. Mind blown, right? There you go. That's it. Ask the next question. Oh, let me add to that. Ask the next question in direct response to what they just said. Not the next question on your list, okay? You know, the thing is, you guys do this every day in normal personal life. If you said to somebody, "Hey, you got any weekend plans?" "Oh yeah, we're really excited about going on our trip." What would you say? Of course you would. Where are you going? "Oh, wait a minute, wouldn't you say, 'Oh, really, going on your trip? Well, let me give you an RE9 kit to take with you because that'll be a great time for you to try out these products.'" No. Where are you going? Tell me more. I mean, how tough is that, right? Boy. So really, selling is nothing more than just listening for the cues. Next step, transition. And I know we're going to go a couple minutes over here, but this is the good stuff. I'm going to give you all these here. Transition. So we reach the point where after we ask all these questions and we think, you know, this is somebody that would be good. And many times we'll wait until the end when we're going to leave, because if you're in a scenario where you really can't and don't want to get into a full-blown presentation and talk about the stuff at that point, it's better to leave them curious a little bit and just get agreement that they'll give you their information. So you can start out with something like, "Hey, just curious." Or I've used this one, "I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you this." Or I feel like I'd be cheating you if I didn't ask you this. I've used that a couple times. Or, "Hey, just wondering." Or, "You said something earlier, so I've got to ask you this." The old standby, "Yeah, this may not be for you, but I've got to ask you anyway." And I've used all these. We've used all these. And then, here it is. This is directly from Ray Higdon. "Would you be at all open to a side project for additional income if it didn't interfere with what you do now?" A lot of psychology in that. Would you be at all open, or would you at all be open? No. Would you be open? Now notice here, we're not saying, "Do you want to sign up today?" It's like, "Hey, would you be open?" And it almost kind of makes somebody feel like, "Boy, I'd be stupid if I at least wasn't open," right? To a side project isn't sign up for my deal. Side project for additional income. No, I don't want additional income. You kidding me? If it didn't interfere with what you do now. So really, what I love about Ray's stuff is that it really follows the stuff that I teach in business to business, in that his philosophy is, let's try to take out the chance for resistance as much as we possibly can. So there's really not a whole lot there somebody could resist to. Matter of fact, I'm not even sure if we got a no to this every time we've been using it. Because normally somebody's going, "Oh yeah," we're not even done saying it yet, where people go, "Oh yeah, sure, yeah, absolutely." Now that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to sign up everyone. We haven't signed up everyone, okay? But it engages people, gets them involved in the conversation, which really is the key. Yeah.
Really quickly, do you ask them, "Would you be open at all to hearing about a side project," or do you say "to a side project"?
Yeah, it depends on, I'm not even quite sure because it happens in the moment. Normally, I think I'm saying, would you be open to hearing about? Would you be open to? And I guess I'd have to go back and review the tape. But but yeah, I see where you're getting at there. Would you be open at all to hearing about?
They're not committing
Yeah.
committing to hearing about it.
Right.
But I guess that being open is hearing about it.
Yeah.
Great, okay.
But I like that. Yeah, I think I'll add that. I think I'll add it and take credit for it. Your secret to originality is forgetting where you stole it from. Here's another one. Do you at all keep your options open for side income? We've used that as well. And again, all we're trying to do here is get somebody to go, oh yeah, I'd be open. Now, here's the thing, of course, the elephant in the room question is, yeah, what is it? Now, a lot of the trainers out there say, evade it, don't tell them, which to me seems just a little bit it's got the cheese factor. I'm just not comfortable with that. We're not teaching that. We've got nothing to hide here, right? So one of our standards answers is, well, have you ever heard of Arbonne International? If they haven't, say, we're in the health and wellness business. We help people save money, we help people create great lifestyles. Be happy to tell you all about it, and this is where it's good if you're leaving, okay? Let me get your information, I'll give you a call, okay? And by the way, get a phone number. We've learned this the hard way, just don't get an email, because it's real easy for people to ignore. I mean, people can still ignore a phone call, but it's at least you have a phone call, you can text them, you can call them. Email, real easy for people to just ignore, okay? And then next steps. Great, I think you might be perfect for what we do. Notice the might. I think you might be perfect for what we do. Let me get your information, and I'd like to give you a call. Or like Pam said last night with the waitress, I would love to meet you for coffee. She's like, oh yeah, she's falling over herself to give her the information. And I mean, it's not that tough, but it's got to start with the mindset and put on those what if glasses. Practice this. If we had more time, I was going to have you guys actually practice this. We'll do that next time, okay? We'll do that next time. We'll do some role plays, but that's not to stop you from going out and doing it at lunch. Matter of fact, we might go to a bar and All right, so questions on that? I know I'm over time here. All right. All right, guys, go out there and go talk to some friends that you don't know. Thanks.
If you came today and don't apply what you've learned, it's a waste of time for you, and you are preventing other people from benefiting with what you have to offer. So I recommend get with someone and share with them what you are going to implement. Write 2 or 3 things down. Put a time frame on it. Gosh, I'm going to do this many drop-offs, in the next week. I'm going to schedule this many group presentations. I'm going to go practice what Art shared on 10 people, in the next week. I'm going to take what Pamela shared and I'm going to go make sure my about section is filled out on Facebook. I'm going to look at the ratio of my posts. So share with somebody what you're going to put into action now. Thank you all for coming. Make it a wonderful summer.